Welcome to this in-depth 15-minute explainer on one of the absolutely most transformative books in modern behavioral economics and public policy. We are talking about Nudge by Nobel laureate Richard Thaler and Cass Sunstein. I am so thrilled to guide you through this fascinating material today. Oh, and just a quick note before we jump in. English subtitles are available for this explainer, so feel free to toggle those on to make following along even easier. So, let me ask you a question. Have you ever sat down at the end of the month, checked your bank account, and just wondered where on earth your hard-earned money went? Or, hey, maybe you made a rock-solid commitment to eat healthier and get to bed early, only to catch yourself late-night snacking while binge-watching your favorite show. We have all been there. We really like to imagine that we're completely in control of our actions, but the reality? The reality is our decision-making is deeply flawed and constantly influenced by subtle environmental cues. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at humans versus econs, two systems of thinking, defaults and social nudges, the danger of sludge, and finally, how to architect your own success. Section 1. Humans versus econs, the illusion of rationality. Okay, let's dive into this. For decades, classical economics was built on this massive misconception. It basically assumed that we all behave like hyper-rational, perfectly logical supercomputers. Thaler and Sunstein call this fictional species Econs. An Econ is assumed to have unlimited cognitive power, perfect memory, and absolutely flawless self-control. They never impulse buy, and they instantly compute the mathematically optimal choice every single time. But let's be real, that is not us. We are humans. Real humans have incredibly busy lives, emotional impulses, and mental fatigue. We rely on mental shortcuts, we get distracted, and our brains have a finite amount of energy. Accepting that we are messy, imperfect humans is the absolute vital first step toward understanding why we need better systems in the first place. Section 2. Two systems of thinking inside the human brain. To really understand how our brain reacts to the world, we first have to understand the world we're reacting to. And this brings us to a foundational concept, choice architecture. Simply put, this is the intentional design of the environment in which people make decisions. And here's the secret. There is literally no such thing as a neutral design. Take a school cafeteria manager. If they put the fresh apples and salads right at eye level at the front of the line, kids naturally buy significantly more healthy food. Notice, they didn't ban the French fries, they just changed the physical architecture of the choices. They gently nudged the students. But why do these nudges work so incredibly well? Well, it comes down to two distinct modes of thought battling it out in our heads. First, you have your automatic system. This system is fast, it's instinctive, it's highly emotional, and entirely unconscious. It's what makes you duck when a ball flies at your head. But then, you have the reflective system. This system is slow, it is deliberate, it's analytical, and self-aware. You use it to solve complex math problems. Now, in an ideal world, our deliberate, reflective brain would make all our important decisions. But because we are tired, busy humans, our reflective system gets exhausted. Think about the end of a long workday, your cognitive reserves are just totally depleted. And when that mental exhaustion hits, the fast automatic brain simply takes the wheel. And when the automatic brain takes over, we fall straight into mindlessness. Consider the famous stale popcorn experiment. Researchers actually gave moviegoers buckets of stale, day-old popcorn. It tasted absolutely terrible. But get this, people who were given large buckets ate 40% more of this awful popcorn than those with medium buckets. Why on earth would they do that? Because the popcorn was right in front of them, and they were eating mindlessly while staring at a screen. Our present self, driven by that automatic system, easily falls for temptation whenever options are abundant and effortless. Section 3. Defaults and social nudges, the invisible influences. The underlying philosophy driving the Choice Architects Toolkit is called Libertarian paternalism. Now, I know that sounds like a complete contradiction, but here is exactly how it works. The paternalistic part means intentionally designing environments to help people live longer, healthier, better lives. But the libertarian part means you never, ever use bans, mandates, or heavy penalties. You are preserving their absolute freedom to choose. The entire goal is simply to make the healthiest, most beneficial path the path of least resistance. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive power of the default option. This is what happens when a person takes no action at all. Because humans suffer from intense inertia, we almost always stick with whatever the default is. Consider the stark difference in national organ donation rates. In nations where you have to actively sign a form to opt in, consent rates hover around a pretty dismal 15%. But in nations with an opt-out default system, where you are automatically a donor unless you explicitly check a box to say no, consent rates absolutely skyrocket to over 99%. Nobody's freedom was taken away, but that simple choice of the default saves thousands and thousands of lives. We can also use nudges to fix our finances. Look, people generally hate saving money because taking money out of today's paycheck feels like a loss, and our brains despise loss. To solve this, Thaler and Sunstein detail a brilliant program called Save More Tomorrow. Instead of asking employees to save more money today, they're invited to link their retirement savings increases to their future pay raises. By doing this, workers never actually see their current take-home pay decrease. It completely bypasses our human inertia and loss aversion without causing any financial pain in the present. It's genius. Beyond defaults, we are also heavily influenced by the people around us. Humans are deeply social creatures. We naturally look to others to figure out how to act, what to wear, and even what to believe. Social influence is basically a magnetic force. We have an incredibly powerful built-in urge to conform to whatever the group norm is. A fascinating example of this is the smiley face nudge. In a famous neighborhood energy experiment, homeowners were shown their energy usage right alongside the average usage of their neighbors. Now, people using too much power immediately reduced their consumption to fit in with the group. Perfect, right? But there was a massive risk. What about the people who were already using very little power? Would they start using more just to match the average? To stop that from happening, researchers added a simple little smiley face icon on the bills of the highly efficient households. That tiny bit of visual, emotional approval was all it took to make them maintain their efficient habits. That is positive conformity in action. A truly good choice architect also knows that humans will inevitably make mistakes. So smart architecture expects human error. Think about early ATMs. People used to take their cash and just walk away, leaving their bank cards sitting right in the machine. Why? Because getting the cash was their primary goal. Once they got it, their brain considered the job done, and the automatic system just clocked out. So engineers changed the choice flow. Now, ATMs force you to take your card before dispensing the cash. We see this everywhere. Cars chiming when you leave your headlights on, or digital cameras giving instant visual feedback so you know immediately if someone blanked. Smart systems design around our human flaws instead of expecting perfection. Section 4. The Danger of Sludge, Weaponized Architecture. Now, when choice architecture is weaponized by predatory companies, it's called sludge. Remember, nudges are transparent, easy to opt out of, and they benefit you, the user. Sludge is the exact opposite. This is when architects intentionally design environments filled with friction to benefit themselves at your expense. Think about signing up for a free trial online. It takes exactly one click, right? But to cancel it, you have to call a customer service line during limited hours, navigate confusing phone menus, and click through endless warning screens. That is sludge. It relies on your frustration and distraction to trap you into paying hidden fees. Recognizing this empowers you to spot manipulative designs and protect yourself. Section 5. Architect your own success. Taking back control. So the absolutely crucial point here is this. You can be the architect of your own personal environment. You don't have to rely on fleeting willpower anymore. Here is a simple 3-step guide. Step 1. Set smart defaults. Automate your personal finances so your money moves directly to savings before you can even think about spending it. Step 2. Add friction to bad habits. If you want less screen time, move those distracting apps off your home screen or bury them in deep folders. Make mindless scrolling physically harder to access. And step 3, remove friction from your good habits. Want to eat healthier? Put the fresh fruit right out on the counter where it's highly visible and hide the junk food in opaque containers on the very top shelf of the pantry. Make the positive actions effortless to initiate. I want to leave you with this final provocative question. Who is architecting your choices today? Because remember, environments are never neutral. The apps on your phone, the layout of your local grocery store, the forms you fill out, they are all designed to nudge you in a specific direction. But by recognizing your own cognitive flaws and understanding these invisible forces, you can actually take back control. You can design a world that automatically guides you toward being healthier, wealthier, and happier. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to look at your environment today and start nudging yourself towards success.